Okay, guys, welcome to the final lecture of the semester. If you made it this far, I don't know how many of you actually managed to watch 13 two-hour videos, but this is the last one. This is going to be about, this lecture is about paper 4, which I call paper 4, but is sort of the departmental final exam. It has nothing to do with Plato, so you don't need to even mention Plato on the final exam. It's not that tight. Some final exams are like, let's summarize everything you've done all semester. This is a departmental final where they just want to make sure they don't care about the reading. They don't care about Plato. They just care about the skills. They want to make sure, can you quote? Can you put the quote in your own words? Can you provide examples? Can you respond with your opinion? Is your opinion backed up by a reason and an example? And do you consider counter arguments? What people might say, when people might say that you're wrong about something, and and they're giving you what to quote. So last week I talked about Fromm. This week I'm talking about Roderick. This is one of the most important things you're going to hear all semester long. So pay attention to this next sentence. When you are writing paper 4, also known as the departmental final, you must quote both Fromm and Roderick. Let's say that again. You must quote both Fromm and Roderick. And when I say quote, I mean quote it, put it in your own words, give an example to explain what they're talking about, to give your opinion on what they just said. You have to talk about them both. The paper 4 is going to give you, just like paper 1 and 2, paper 4 is going to give you 3 options. And each option is going to be asking your opinion on something, which means every paragraph you write better somehow connect back to your opinion on that question you were asked. You pick one out of the 3. Every semester I get 1 or 2 students who answer all 3. Don't do that. You'll end up with a D, for sure. You will also end up with a D if you only quote Roderick or Fromm. You must quote Roderick and Fromm somewhere in your answer. And it could be, so they're going to ask your opinion on something. They'll give you 3 things to ask your opinion on, and you only have to pick one of them. You pick one of them, you say, I think this, and then you talk about your opinion, reasons, and examples. And then you might say, I think Fromm would agree with me, and here's what he would say, and you quote him, reasons, examples, all that stuff. Or you could say, I think Fromm would disagree with me. Here's what he would say, and here's why he's wrong. And then you could say, I think Roderick would agree with me. And then you can quote Roderick, and you can tell me what she's talking about, and you can, quote her and do all of that stuff. All the regular stuff, and then you can say, I think she would disagree with me, or I think she would agree with me. You have to use Fromm and Roderick somehow, at least once each, in your essay. And that can be having them say you think they would agree with you, because you're giving your opinion to the question. You give them 3 options, you pick one of them, give your opinion on it. And you're going to give, and you're just going to quote them in there. And you could be quoting them because you want to say, hey, here's someone who I think would agree with me, and here's why I think they would agree. Or you can quote them and say, I think this person would disagree with me, and here's why they would disagree, and here's why they're wrong. So that's really what you're doing for paper 4. You've already been over the Fromm, but again, if you have any questions about Fromm, let me know. But this week, the final week, we're going to be going over the Roderick essay. The Roderick essay is easier. It's shorter, it's simpler. No, you're not going to have any autonomous, authority or whatever it is. You're not going to have any of that sort of overly complicated psychology of vocabulary, although I actually like the overcomplicated psychology of vocabulary. But you did 10 weeks of Plato, you know that I enjoy things being overly complicated. All right. Once again, also, I know in the past I've had that ability to push the button and show you the text. I can't do that for stupid reasons having to do with technology. I don't know why they changed it, but they did. So I have numbered the paragraphs of the Roderick. So I'm just going to say paragraph 1, paragraph 2, paragraph 3, paragraph 4, and you are going to read along with me. Okay. So I think that's all you need to know. Oh, the final exam will be between December 11th and December 13th. So it's very important that you get on Blackboard in that time frame, because those are you cannot start your essay until a minute after midnight on December 11th, and you must finish your essay before 11:59 on December 13th. So you can't start this one early, you can't turn it in late, and you, but you can start it on the 11th, go to bed, come back and work on it more on the 12th, go to bed, come back and work on it more on the 13th. You cannot send me drafts. You can't be like, is this an okay thing to say? You're on your own for the departmental final. Not what I would choose. The reason why you're on your own and you can't do a second draft is I didn't design this. If it was up to me, I would let you do those things. But paper 1, 2, and 3, and all the Play-Doh bullshit, that's all me. Roderick and Fromm are the English department. And they have their own thoughts about how to do things. And I used to be on the committee that helped guide these things. And then I fucking quit. So you can make what you will of that. So what the hell was I talking about? Oh yeah, so just make sure you get on there. You'll have December 11th, 12th, and 13th to kind of work on this thing. And you can work on it, but you got to get on. If you don't get on Blackboard until the 14th, if you don't get on the website between the 11th and the 13th, you're gonna have a big problem. So don't have that big problem. You can't send me drafts. You can't do a second draft. You can't ask my opinion on. You can ask for advice before you take it, but once you've started it, you can't be like sending me paragraphs. But I'll help you as much as I can before December 11th. Okay. Cool. So I think that's it. So you're going to give them 3 choices of what to write about for paper 4. Pick one, make sure every paragraph you write connects back to that point, and make sure you quote and discuss both Fromm and Roderick somewhere in there. The Fromm and the Roderick essays are located in the Unit 4 folder. And so you can find them there. You're going to need to have them to read along with this because I can't show you the text. Okay. And, okay, that's what we're going to do. The Roderick essay is called The Case for Black Joy. And the first sentence is not a paragraph at all. It's kind of like a sub-headline, so I didn't count. It's like paragraph 0. And it just says, for Black people, being publicly joyful is an act of resistance, so let's have more of it. And that is sort of summarizing very quickly the main point of the article. This is from a website, and so that's the kind of thing they want to put it up top so people will click on it. Okay, before we begin this, I'm going to say there's quite a... this is an essay from like a fashion magazine, interestingly, which is an interesting choice for them to select. I don't hate that, actually. But the article mentions some pop culture things, and we'll go through it. But it mentions Black Panther, which is a Marvel movie with an almost entirely Black cast. She mentions The Matrix and Blade. Blade is also one of the first sort of Marvel movies from 1999, I think, which features Wesley Snipes, a Black hero who kills vampires with a sword. They're kind of cool. She also mentions The Matrix, which is a science fiction movie from 1999 with a mostly white cast. And she mentions some other things in here. She mentions a drag queen. She mentions Django Unchained, which is a Quentin Tarantino movie about an escaped slave in the American South. And she mentions like an Instagram kind of challenge, doing a dance where characters from a TV show do a little dance for Instagram or whatever, and it's like a cute thing where famous people do a little goofy dance. So there's a whole bunch of things, and you might not know that. Now, some of you are going to know, some of you will know everything she's talking about. You've seen Blade, you've seen The Matrix, you saw Black Panther, you know what drag queens are, you maybe even watched the show where the drag queens are famous from. RuPaul's Drag Race? I don't know, maybe. And so you'll know that. But what I've done is part of this lecture has those I put clips of everything in it. So you're going to see the trailer. If she mentions like 4 or 5 movies, you're going to see 4 or 5 movie trailers in the playlist for the lecture. I'll put them in there for you. She mentioned the little dance that people did. I've got a clip from the news so you can see what she's talking about there. Yeah, so that should kind of that's what's happening in this lecture. Is a chunk of it is actually just the pop culture stuff, so you're not lost. So if you wonder why these things pop up, it's because I want to make sure you have some idea what she's talking about. I don't think, by the way, you have to watch Black Panther or Blade in order to follow this. Although, Black Panther, Blade, and The Matrix are cool movies, so feel free to watch them. All right, I'll pick it up in the next video.